Oh my God, I haven't been on this stage in 10 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we just acted for all the new people. How does it fucking feel to be home, kids? Welcome back. 3 long years waiting for this moment, man. The summer's finally been redefined. And tonight, we're going to do one of the most Comic-Con things you can do at Comic-Con. We're going to sit down and talk to a living legend, ladies and gentlemen. If there is a pop culture Mount Rushmore, and you just have to pick 4 fucking faces, his face is definitely one of those faces. Tonight's panel is entitled Shatner on Shatner, so I have no idea why I'm even needed. You're gonna, of course, everybody knows our subject today, the captain himself. Irascible is one way to describe him. An absolute living legend is another. So we're gonna chit-chat with him and a bunch of people that worked on this flick that we're gonna tell you about. So let me get them out here and we can get going. First off, man, I want to introduce the folks from Legion M. I love the Legion M folks from here. Legionnaires right out there in the audience. Legion M helped us make Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So it's delightful to be up here talking about their next project. I met them years ago on a Stan Lee thing. They were like, would you like to interview Stan Lee? And I'd interviewed him a number of times, but I would never miss an opportunity to do so. And so we shot this thing called Icons, which isn't quite ready yet. So I remember when we shot it, they were shooting it with like cameras that were, I was like, what are these, 2K? And they're like, they're 10K. And I was like, does that exist? They're like, not yet. And I was like, how do you watch playback? They're like, we don't know what we're getting here. So they said it was going to be a few years before they could watch the shit that we shot. I was like, that's fucking fascinating. So I met the Legion F cats way back then. Been involved with them ever since, man. Let me bring out a couple of them right now. Co-founder and president, give it up for Jeff Aniston, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, my friend. And then also welcome out the VP of Development, the shortest person here at Comic-Con. Welcome, David Baxter. David was so excited because he was like, you know, he's been at Hall H in the audience. This is the first time he ever been on stage. Yeah. And then just before he came out, he was questioning whether he wore the right outfit. I think for this room, absolutely, my friend. Next up, I'm going to introduce you to the team at Exhibit A, man, an acclaimed documentary team making films about people and the films that we love. For example, The People versus George Lucas. Memory, The Origins of Aliens, just singular, not the plural one. 7852, Hitchcock's Shower Scene. William Friedkin's The Exorcist, and their latest release about David Lynch called Lynch Oz. Welcome, writer-director Alexander O'Falim, ladies and gentlemen. And then the producer who works with Alexander, who makes it all possible. Let me tell you, as a director, I know this for a fact. You don't do shit without a producer. Directors are people like, ooh, I want to do a thing. And a producer is like, great, I got to figure out how to fucking do that thing instead. You're going to meet the real power beyond the throne right here. Give it up for producer Carrie Dignan Roy, ladies and gentlemen. And now, of course, ladies and gentlemen, the man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to do it regardless. I'm going to tell the story so he doesn't stop me from telling him when he comes out here. Since we just announced on our previous panel that Mr. Shatner is joining us for Masters of the Universe Revolutions, the season 2 of the animation show that we do at Netflix, you can tell, I was able to finally tell people, like I couldn't tell people that I've worked with Bill in that way. most people are like, oh, you worked with Bill because you're on a Big Bang Theory together and stuff. But there's working with Bill, stand next to him and a thing, and then there's working with an actual legend. So we had him at the booth to record. He's recorded all of his lines. We cannot say who he plays, but it's a very cool character. So at a certain point, I'm not the director. Colette is the vocal director, the one who directs all the vocal performances. But since I'm the showrunner, and since I got some experience in making bad movies, they let us sit in on it. And from time to time, I offer direction. And so here we are recording, William Shatner. I'm like, well, I'm not going to miss a piece of this. Like, I'm going to jump in there and get some direction going. So then years from now, when I'm an old man, I was like, I directed Captain Kirk. And I jumped in. Bill was getting ready to read his lines. And I was like, hey, Bill, do me a favor on this line. Can you just go through it like super fast, like you're frustrated or something like that? And he goes, it's my favorite thing that ever happened. We were doing it via Zoom. And so he's in a booth at a recording studio. I'm on my laptop at my home. My wife is literally just off to the side reading the book, and she was listening to the whole thing, disinterested until what happened. So I was like, Bill, can you maybe read this like you're frustrated or something? And he goes, Kevin, in a moment, you will have the honor of directing me. Let me work through this first. And so I stepped back and gave the man his space. And I looked over at my wife, who had put her book down to stare at me wide-eyed. And I looked down, I pressed mute, and then she said to me, it took Captain Kirk to shut Silent Bob the fuck up. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the living legend, William Shatner.
You know what the word apocryphal means? He's just told an apocryphal story. It never happened. It may have happened. But it's the way you read it. In a moment, in a moment you'll be able to direct it. Let me go through it. It was like an appeal as against an order. My God, what an awful person.
And that's why I love William Shatner, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how to open this and stuff, but I'm just gonna say this, like, of everybody who's on this panel or everybody in the room, I would wager that you've probably been to this event more than most of us. Am I right about that? How many times do you think you've been to Comic-Con?
San Diego?
Yeah.
When did it start? 70s?
Yeah.
Well, last year or whatever. No, quite a few times. I mean, San Diego Comic-Con has grown. I mean, there's something in the water, because it used to be like a little sleepy town, and you come to San Diego and, you look for a decent restaurant, and the streets were so clean, and there was nobody living in them. And prices of houses were depressed. And then Comic-Con took over, and it's like, well, I was told that it might be 150,000 people here this weekend. 150,000 people. So what does that say? It says that you've been locked up for 3 years. And it's time to shout.
What's you've been around since before there was a fandom.
This may be an apocryphal story, but I remember when shortly after Star Trek was canceled, there was two ladies, and I forgot their names, but everybody knew them. I'll bet there are people here who knew them. I think one is dead, the other's not, I don't know. And they called one day. I'd met them on the set, and they'd gotten letter writing things in to keep us alive. And she said, there's a meeting of some people in a hotel in New York, and we would you come and say something? And I said, well, we're calling it a Comic-Con, and it's in the New York hotel in the middle or late 70s. And I don't know, I mean, come on. I'm a serious actor. I don't go looking to tell people what I'm doing. Let them discover it. But she said, but there's 15,000 people coming. Now, 15,000 people, I can tell them about whatever it is I'm doing. And try and get some publicity. So I did, and the Jeopardy, and that was another show. Yeah, Jeopardy is to be talking to all of you who are listening intently because you paid your money and you paid your time and you want to hear something intelligent. Not only are you is the performer unaware that he might not be intelligent, but the fear of saying something like a Freudian slip and a word comes out of your mouth that I guess you really meant because it's deep inside your psyche. So you say, "Fuck, I wanted me," but you did. And that's the fear of talking spontaneously to a large audience, unless you know they love you.
You mentioned people like buying tickets, paying admission. I think the price of admission was paid for just by hearing you say "fuck" as innocent as you did.
I say fuck all the time.
Fuck you, man. Is it ever like this? Fuck Star Wars. Like, what do you say?
I say fuck Star Wars. Mr. Hamill.
No, never Mr. Hamilton. Let me ask you this, Bill. Why did it take 91 years for somebody to make a definitive documentary about your life? Why now and why with this team?
Well, I think this panel should be a mixture of fun and maybe some serious stuff. The serious stuff is, I'm 91 years old. Yeah. Jesus. It's like, I thought I was 37. I became 91, and I don't know when that happened. So time was going on. And although I just got off a horse, yesterday morning I was up in San Francisco in a reining competition Tuesday and Wednesday. But I drove down from San Francisco to Los Angeles, and then I got here at this morning. And I'm telling you that because I'm so active. Now, riding a reining horse is a very active thing. If you don't know what it is, a horse on a particular pattern can come running into the auditorium and slide to a stop, back up 4 or 5 turns to the right, 4 fast and a quarter turns to the left, fast, slow to a fast, or a slow continues to it, and run down, slide to a stop, turn and run down that side, slide to the run down that slide, and back up. That was the pattern yesterday. And I don't know whether I've mentioned this before, but I'm 91 years old. And the breath is going. So I'm pounding. Shit, I hope I can fucking make it. So why now? Because my breath is short. I'm 91 years old, and this wonderful gentleman came along in the nick of time because all these autographs I'm doing are going to be worth a lot more money when I die. and the documentary on my life, how quickly you'll sell it if I should die like on the pilot. Everybody's good fortune if I should die right here.
None of us want that, sir, but like that would be fucking amazing. People like he died like the legend he was. I hear this.
That's the reason now.
That's the reason. You talk about being 91, but like this is a tiny little anecdote. When Bill came to record his lines, he like drove himself and he fucking skidded to his when he pulled in and shit. I was like, what asshole's driving a 91-year-old gets out of the car? So you don't ever occur to me as the age that you say.
I know. Although I am 91. That's what 91 is. I mean, some people are like this and aren't 91. They're 101.
Yeah.
And some people are 81. Anyway, I am 91. Oh, I hate saying that. That's the last time I'm going to say it while I'm at Comic-Con. Okay? But the age thing is just, it's...
How old are you?
I don't remember.
Do you find it like I'm part of, I got into this business because I'm a big fan of my own voice. So I can listen to myself talk forever. When
You do.
I do. When they said, like, you know, we want to sit down and talk to you, do you find that grueling, or are you like, I'd love to talk about Bill Shatner?
No, I'd rather talk about it sincerely. I love doing. I've done several interview shows, and I've had some great interviews with people, and I love that exploratory talk of a conversation, having a conversation with people like at a meeting like this, and there's a microphone set up, and people want to ask a question. So they ask a question. Well, you know, what's your favorite episode? You know, oh God, I've got to hear that again. Well, what I find interesting is saying, well, all right, I'll tell you my favorite episode. Why do you want to know? And suddenly there's a conversation going between somebody who's been in the audience and turns out to have their own story and the things that evolve and develop, and talking to people who are here who have something real. Everybody here has an interesting story. It's a matter of eliciting it. Eliciting it. Eliciting it. That's right.
Yeah, I thought it was the word. It's not.
But I'm 91 years old. I can't understand. Everybody's got a story. So the thing I love is to talk to people, even though you can barely make them out of the darkness of the auditorium. There's somebody there. There's always a story hanging. And I found out in all the talk shows I did, I would reach into because I was genuinely interested, and I sat close to them. Come here. You had COVID, but it's okay. I would be as close as this, and you could see the eyes. You could see, and not this, which is infringing.
Hold on, here comes the mic. There's a
Which is infringing. Which is infringing. I got it. It's back up, right? Which is infringing on their privacy. But about 18 inches away, if you're like in an intimate conversation, honey, I love you. I've always loved you. This is the moment I wanted, and you're 18 inches away, you know, which is about the right proper distance for me.
These are all good notes for the Q&A later on, ladies and gentlemen. Don't ask him to stay for an episode, and stay the fuck back.
You want to have like a foul mouth contest.
Yes. Oh my God, since childhood, I've always dreamed about out-cursing. Yeah,
That's what we should do. Hang in there, everybody. Kevin and I are going to have a foul mouth contest at the end of this panel. Okay. So you have that to look forward to. In the meantime, I think we should talk about this incredible company that we are part of.
I was trying to, but you called it like a long time. But I will say this, it was really interesting to see the mic situation develop, because like they brought you out a new mic, but you wouldn't let the old one go. You really don't believe in the no-win scenario, man. Like, that was a total Kobayashi Maru moment right there.
It's just, I need 2 mics.
Let me introduce some of the other guys. Let's talk right now to the folks at Legion M. One of the companies responsible for this documentary is Legion M, which is a completely new sort of company, if you're unaware of it. It's designed to be owned by the fans, man. So I'm sure many of you know about Legion M. For those in the audience that do not know about Legion M, we're going to show you a little video so you can get familiar with this real quick, and then we can go on with the discussion. Let's check out that video, shall we?
Hit the hell ahead. For a minimal, I think it's $100, right? So these guys are going to discuss the machinations of the company, but for $100 or more, you can buy a piece of the company. Now that you're in a position to say, I don't like that movie, or you should have done X, Y, or Z, you have a voice. Not only do you have a voice, but we defer our salary until you guys make some or all or what. But we don't get money until you get money. So what an interesting, fascinating project. Fascinating.
I met you guys back in 2016 when you asked me to interview Stan, and just watching that video, you guys have come up incredibly along the way in a very short time. It's only 6 years later. Look at all that production you got behind you. Did I see Simon Pegg in the video right
Yeah, that's our newest one. We're doing an Nandor photo of the Talking Mongoose with Simon Pegg and Christopher Lloyd and Minnie Driver. Now, this is a real surreal moment for us at Legion Up, I can tell you, because like you said, 6 years ago, this company was just starting. It was a glimmer in our collective eyes. And at the time, we actually got one of our biggest breaks in 2016 here with Stan Lee. We were just, the company was just an idea at the time, and somehow we managed to wrangle an interview with the Los Angeles Times. And Stan Lee was part of that. He was an early supporter of the company, and he gave us this great quote. It was, a company owned by fans, that's such a great idea. I wish I thought of it myself. And it was just one of those wonderful Stan quotes. But, when you look at that and then flash forward 6 years, and, this is our first ever Hall H panel, and we're doing a documentary with William Shatner, and it's absolutely incredible. And it's not because of David and I and our good looks, it's because of all the fans. It's the fact that this company is literally, it's like all of us got together and said, let's create an entertainment company of our own. And so we're thrilled to be here, and can't wait to see where we are 6 years from now.
Excellent.
But still, for 6 years to go, I see where I am. Because I'm not only 1 year old.
Bill, you're a board member. You joined these guys.
Well, I wasn't. No, I wasn't a board member. Well,
He's an advisor.
I was never bored. I felt very excited.
Down Jones, the father of Cyber Fleet.
And answer the company. Stockbrokers, when they advise you to buy a stock, the good ones, have gone to the company and looked over the management of the company and seen how the company runs and is able to give you advice. Well, the company's pretty good, but the management is terrific, or the opposite. The management of this company is terrific. These are a group of vital, young-ish, well, they're not like intelligent, creative people. And so I put my 2 cents in to ride with them.
We're glad to have you, Bill.
Really happy.
Tell us how the documentary came together.
Well, it was kind of interesting because when we first met Bill, as you can tell, I'm like the company cosplayer. I do like wearing something on. And I was dressed as Indiana Jones and went into the green room with our CDO, Paul Scanlon. And there was Bill alone eating lunch. And he looks up, he sees this guy dressed as Indiana Jones. And, my initial impression was that he wanted us to leave as quickly as possible. But we started chatting, and he looked up, and we talked about this idea of a fan-owned company. And he's like, you should talk to my people.
Okay.
And we did. And once that dialogue started going back and forth about the power of the fans, the fact that they're the ones who consume all this media, so why shouldn't they have an upside? He was intrigued. And it's funny, I was so excited about this because, of course, since I was a little kid, I've loved Twilight Zone. I have loved T.J. Hooker. I also really like Star Trek. And, we had made a movie when we had helped distribute a movie called Memory: The Origins of Alien, which was all about Daniel Bannon, H.R. Giger, and Ridley Scott and the making of Alien. And these fine folks were the filmmakers, the producer and the director of it. And, you know, Alex and I are friends. And I mentioned on a phone call with him, guess who just became an advisor to the company? William Shatner. He goes, William Shatner? Oh my God, I've always wanted to make a documentary about William Shatner. And I'm like, well, let's see what we could do. And that was like almost literally a year ago. So, you know, in the interviewing time, you know, we were very, very happy when we introduced Alexander and Bill, because, you know, so many people have asked, you know, him to do a documentary. And it was really funny because the first thing out of Alexander was, has anybody done a documentary about it? Let's look it up. Where get on IMDb, find out what's going on. And so it was just, it seemed like an incredible opportunity. And the fact that Bill was open to this and sat down with him. And, you know, I didn't think you'd even see the film. You just were like, he seems like a very nice young man. This works. He talked to him.
Well, you know, yeah.
You just say, yeah, it was lovely.
Betting on you guys, and I knew about a reputation. I was going on thing, and not necessarily on the film. You know, people. That's the way it goes with us. That's the creative thing where people go on. Yeah, I like that idea, and the other idea, people beside them, and the thing, and yeah, I'll go with it. And you risk your reputation and your fortune on somebody you don't know very well, but you've made a creative decision, if you will. That's the way it goes, and that's what you guys are going to be doing. You're going to make creative decisions. The board will listen to you. They'll float an idea out to you. Here's an idea we have. What do you think? What you will do, you the investors will do, is you'll make those decisions on yourself, like voting against, but you'll come and see the movie. And you'll have an opinion on the movie or the documentary or the television show or God knows where they go, you know, Broadway shows, series and things like that. You'll have an opinion, which will be, they'll listen to it. It's like voting. It's like taking a poll.
By the way, when I say that, you know, great art isn't necessarily made by committee, but the point is you need to have an open ear. You need to talk to people and hear what they want. And, you know, Jeff and Paul, the heads of the company, come from Silicon Valley, and they're very interested in data. And so we're constantly canvassing everybody and creating that dialogue back and forth. But at the end of the day, you want to go with, you know, filmmakers and creatives who are incredibly passionate about their work. And that's, you know, you guys, Carrie and Alexander, are two of the most passionate filmmakers that we've ever encountered. And so we thought, okay, passion with passion. And I'm very, very excited about this story because of it.
So am I.
Take your mask up. I think you only give COVID to the mask. In order to be clear.
Let's talk to Carrie and Alexander. In order to tell anybody's life, you know, you're like, what do you focus on? You're talking about, I don't know if you know this or not, man's 91. So he's got a lot of years to choose from. How do you go about even beginning? Like, to me, it would have been dumbfounding. Like, where do you start? I could do a documentary just literally about his delivery in Star Trek II when he's giving the eulogy, where he does that fucking dramatic pause, then where he could, it always puts a lump in my throat, where he's like, of all the souls that I've encountered, his is the most human. Like, I would do a 2-hour documentary about that.
All right, we're going to have to change it up now. Do some research.
Where do you begin to encapsulate a life like his?
Well, you know, so I should say that I first actually started watching, I mean, I grew up watching Bill with black and white television in Switzerland. That's where I grew up. And I've been a fan, obviously, for a long, long time. But now that I got the opportunity to get to know you a little bit, I'm really a fan of Bill the human.
Yeah.
And I'm really a fan of your observations on life, on nature, on the universe, on these connections, you know, these things that connect us all really in sort of strange, mysterious ways. And so I started really thinking about what is the best way, at least from my perspective, to make a film about Bill. And I was thinking about his wonderful autobiographical songs, which you guys need to be familiar with. They're really wonderful. And there's these themes that come up that clearly after, shall I say, 91 Spaces an Hour Around the Globe.
I think we worked that joke.
We worked that right? But, you know, that are really meaningful to you. And so basically I decided to structure the doc around a number of songs and delve into essentially a number of themes that I felt were really important to Bill. And so the film is really a celebration of Bill, you know, the human and of his career, of course. But it's going to be a very lyrical film, I think a very poetic film. I mean, we're going to show a clip, actually, in a little bit, a sketch of a scene. We're going to show you something to give you a sense of what we're going for.
Carrie, how hard was it to pull off? It's one thing for that guy to be like, this is what I want to do. You have to figure out how to do it.
Well, I'll tell you, it's been easier than you would think, and it's really because of everybody here at the table. You know, I was thinking back to when our relationship started, which was back with Memory. I remember we just screened it at Sundance, and we saw David's head. I don't know if you've noticed, but it's about this. It's a head above all of us. And I remember him coming straight towards us and handing us the card, and then we went back. We got breakfast the next morning, and we've just been so excited to work together again. They're amazing partners. They do listen. For filmmakers, it's amazing to have partners that are like, what do you want to do? What do you think is important? Not this is how it's going to be, which is rare.
Right, very true.
It's like a family, really.
It really
Feel like
is.
Exhibit A and Legion.
Yeah.
We're just like, I don't know, it almost feels like when we're interacting, we're almost like brothers in company. It's weird, you know?
And I must say also, with Bill, he was talking about the horse earlier, we got to see that. I mean, it's amazing, the energy, amazing energy that this man has. So it's been just a joy to work with him and to have him share this amount of time. We spent 3 days together in the studio, grilling him, and he shared a lot. So it's been easier than you would think.
Now, did I hear correctly? There's a clip that we could see?
That's right.
What do we got? Set it up for us.
So this is a sketch of a scene it's actually the very first scene that I'm working on right now. And it starts with a very personal story. And to me, this is it sets up, I think, how Bill thinks about nature and the universe. So it starts with a very short, sort of focused human story, very grounded, and then it goes maybe cosmic. And so yeah, let's just play it. I think you'll get a sense for it. I just want to say again, it's a sketch. There's some temporary footage right now. It's by no means a finished scene, but it's the first thing we have to show. So it's a sneak peek.
I've spent I remember as a kid that was talking there, I was a city boy in Montreal, and I went out to the camp, sent a kid out to camp for a week or two, so I was at my first camp in the countryside of the Laurentian Mountains. And I remember looking up into the sky for the first time and seeing stars we saw in that shot. For the first time I saw them, and I fell over backwards. And I went over backwards. In all that time, I read Rachel Carlson's Silent Spring, 60 years ago. Everything she predicted in that book is coming to pass. The connection that we have with the world and the universe is so profound. We tend to forget, oh yeah, we're made of stardust, and what's for dinner? But we are made of stardust. We are connected to the trees send electrochemical signals along this mycelium that's functioning, and they connect with the trees. They're sending electrochemical signals along what looks to me like a dendrite. We humans think in electrochemical terms, sending signals along our dendrites. I mean, it's so parallel, it's obvious. The trees and humans are more connected than not connected. I mean, that's bizarre, as is everything else. So this book, called Old Leo, which is coming out in October, is a discovery of the vibration of the universe. You know, there are theories of the basic building block of the universe is vibrating all the time. And so the universe is vibrating. The trees, we are vibrating. If you can connect with that vibration, and the means to do that has been known forever. If you are in prayer and you really are praying, then you're trying to locate yourself at that vibration. If you're thinking, you're concentrating, focusing, what do I mean? What's the word?
Meditating.
Meditating. If you're meditating, truly meditating, you're in the focus of it. If you're really aware, you're in the now, you're in the vibration. And the vibrations, and this book is like an arc of how the universe, and the first failure musically that I had was, I was on the Tonight Show, and I had this first album was an amalgam of some of the great pieces of literature, which was tied to some of the great lyrics. So one of them I remember was Cyril and de Bergerac's last speech. I may climb to no great heights, but I will climb on segues into a drug song. When I did it in rehearsal, just came up and said, well, that's 6 minutes long. You don't do 3 minutes. You want to do the literature, or do you want to do the song? Well, I was going to do the song. Now I'm on the song. I'm doing the song on the air. I look over and I see the host going, because I've been listening to this guy with her. I'm listening to this guy. Can't do no rolling drugs. It was laughed at, and it was like a failure. 30 years later, Ben Folds has got the whole of the album. He loved it. He started writing for me, and we started doing albums together, and I did albums by myself. And now I did an album called Bill, which is out there now. Got reviews like breathtaking. And I entertained at the Kennedy Center doing those songs, which are going to be partially in the documentary, songs that Robert Chernow, Dan Miller, and I wrote, and I filmed it, and it's going to be an album. It's going to be live at Kennedy Center. It'll be out soon. So there's another thing that made that vibrating circle. The universe is taking care of us.
Are you guys done with the movie? Have you shot everything? You finished?
No. We still have some footage to shoot.
We're shooting around today quite a bit.
Have you shot anything in Hall H?
It's difficult to shoot around here.
Because there's some rules about
Right.
bringing shit.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
But what if somebody shot with like a cell phone? Like I hear they make movies with cell phones.
Yeah, I heard that too. Yeah.
So if that was the case, then we could potentially get all these people in the movie as well, correct?
I think we could. Yeah.
What do we need to do for that, man? You all want to be in a movie again?
Got a sign of release. 2000 release.
Okay, so what are we going to do? We're going to get the crowd screaming while Alexander, Carrie, David, and Jeff are going to stand up and use their phones to capture footage of the crowd. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you love William Shatner, let me hear it right now.
Film away. Okay, so the Boldly Go will be on Amazon.com. New York in the book. Wow! The Unexplained is a big hit on Netflix. They're trending third on Netflix. I designed to watch a Webb watch. It's the Webb telescope on the center of the face. Earth, sun tells the time, and it's been okayed by NASA. It has the NASA imprint, and you can go to the watch to visit passagesv2.com to sign up for information. One more thing. Orange Comet is a great company as well. They do along with NFTs. I'm doing an NFT of the Funko Pop thing. There's only a limited number of 2,500. I signed it and do a special thing with the Funko Pop. But in addition to that, Orange Comet is building an NFT, a beautiful electronic image that goes with the Funko Pop. When you buy that Funko Pop, you get a unique, there are only 2,500 being made. And you go to orangecomet.com for that. Well, and William Shatner, NFTs.com. That's it.
Remember how we talked about, like, what do you think of the first con? He was like, there's a chance to sell a 15,000. And I said, there,
Yeah, well, I mean, but you're doing them a favor because it's such good entertainment.
You know what? We're going to open it up to the audience for at least a question. We said we were going to let the audience ask questions, and
That's a great idea.
ran out of time. But let's, where are the mics? Oh, here we are. We're all set up over here.
Hi, Will. Nice to see you again. And
Take your mask off. We'll understand you better. And go.
I'm not supposed to.
Yeah, they'll throw them out, Bill.
I'm not supposed to.
No, okay.
For 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead. The fucking captain asked for it. Captain's order.
My question for you, Will, is since you went to space, if you're going to go to space again, with this time go on a different planet, like a new planet, what would be the first planet you land on when you go to space again?
Okay, so not only did I not understand what he's talking about, I don't even know who he's talking to. What did he say?
So he wants to know, as the only individual on the panel who has been to space.
What?
As the only individual on the panel who has been to space, a.k.a. you. You, Bill. In space, it really wanted to know. He wanted to know if you were going back to space, what planet you'd want to go to?
Yeah, what would be the first planet you land on?
What would be the first planet you landed on?
I'm going to tell you, and I don't know whether you would accept the reality. I don't know what to say. And I'm going to use the word fuck. This is the only fucking planet you have. It's not going anywhere. You might be able to go to the moon if you can afford it, but the moon is hollow. Are you aware of that? The moon is hollow, and they don't know why. And they're going to find out. It's one of the big mysteries. The other planets are inhospitable. I want you to, how's it go? As soon as if you can, what's the opening?
Twilight Zone?
Yeah.
Submitted for your approvals.
What?
Submitted for your approval. You were fucking in Twilight Zone.
I read it, I didn't write it. You go to Mars, okay? You're ready to go to Mars? 6 months, you're on the voyage. When the Webb telescope opened its sun panels, it was immediately struck by a meteorite. I mean, it was bloop and boom. Imagine you're 6 months going in a direction, and all that junk from the solar system is coming this way, you're going that way, okay? One little hint. and you're dead. Okay. Now you land. Luckily, you land on the moon. And the thing wavers, okay, you're there on the moon. Why are you looking away? You're not interested in this? And I answered your question, and you're looking around. What did you say? What did you say? What?
Listening.
Oh, you're listening.
I've just
His son is hoping he would just have seen the Genesis planet.
I can't understand what you're saying, Whit. Figure out. Now you feel confident.
Whatever, yes.
And you just boldly on the hell, man.
On the moon. We got 6 months back. Those meteorites hitting you. You don't stand a chance to live, man.
I stand a chance. I want to see your plans out there.
No, you make your home here. Clean up the streets of San Diego. And then clean the air. And you let us all live, okay?
I'll find other paths for you guys to live on. I'll ask Elon Musk if he can help.
Okay, I'm not seeking approval, but am I right or wrong?
You're right. I agree with you.
You agree? Where are you going? Where are you going in your pink shirt? You're going to be spotted everywhere.
Next victim.
Okay,
Right into the mic.
Kevin, it's nice to see you again. Great to see you. We'll see you later.
Yes.
What, does your guys have a fit going? What's that? That's the Dark Panther. What do you mean, I'll get to see you later?
What? Where are you going? You're looking at my Mr. Spock over there, man. That's my guy.
Is he really with you?
No. Well, you believed it, so who's the actor now, motherfucker?
Over you. Okay, Mr. Shatner.
Yes, my dear.
When you went to space, because you can hear me now.
Yes, every word clear as a bell.
Thank you. What was the one feeling that you weren't expecting when you went to space?
Great question.
I talk about this a great deal because it was a very goofy moment for me, or so unexpected. So everybody's playing around with weightlessness. You know, we had all this education of weightless. I saw film of Jeff Bezos on the first trip that they went on. The Bezos is floating on his stomach, you know, like this, and his back is to us, and there's cameras all over. So this camera was shooting his ass. And there was a kid, an 18, 17, 16-year-old, and the kid was throwing candies at his ass. And that's the way they spent part of the time of the 3 minutes in space. So when they asked me to go, and I'm going to go, I went, and I vowed that every moment that I spent at space would not be playing around in weightlessness, but looking out the window and trying to get an impression. And when I looked behind me, as I started off from the window, I looked behind me, I could see something I've never heard discussed before. The spaceship was leaving a wake through the air, like a submarine does in the water. So I could see the wake. And then when I turned to my right, I could see the blackness of space. I've been fascinated by space. Before the Hubble, I wasn't around when what's-his-name had a telescope and realized that we weren't going around, that the sun wasn't going around us, we were going around the sun. I wasn't there. Okay?
Well, you were born a week later, I
I'm as fascinated by space as anybody here because of Star Trek. And I've studied a lot about it, but I couldn't see anything. All that was there was black, black, black. It was so black, it was like a darkness I'd never seen before. I saw death. Now I looked back there, and I saw the beige of the Texas desert, the whiteness of the clouds, and the blue of the planet, and I realized that's death, that's life, and that's how I began.
We got time for one more, and then they're gonna get us out of here. They got prepared for some more stuff. But you don't having a good time so far?
Are you having as good a time? Yeah, crap. Let's hand this guy. Yeah? You guys are.
Over to you, sir.
I don't know if you're taking suggestions for the curse off, but if someone wants to use double dumbass. Actually,
That's a great start.
Yeah.
What? Ready?
You call me a dumbass.
All right, you double dumbass.
Put double dumbass on you.
That's so fucking lousy. What kind of a shitty statement is that?
Well, now you just sound like my mother. I think I lost. Fuck.
I feel sorry for your mother.
the gentleman behind me had a great question and better than mine. He was going to ask you if there were any standout performances in Star Trek after the original series that really caught your attention.
Any stand-up
Nothing.
performance?
As little as, I got to know Gene Roddenberry 3 years fairly well, but still you don't get to know somebody really well, ever, let alone in 3 short years. But he'd be turning in his grave at some of the stuff that was original. Look at me, I don't. I gotta get off. Oh, what do you know? I know it all. You're going to be delighted to invest in this company.
You're back. Do you have anything else, or do you want to roast him a little bit more? Thank you. Oh, we're going to give it up for that question later. Very few times in life do you get to go like, holy shit, that was a moment. We all just had a real big moment together here, ladies and gentlemen. You have a big time. Of course, Jeff, David, Alexander, and Carrie, give it up for them, please. Well, we're all here for one man and one man only. He's our final frontier. Give it up for the legend, the icon. Give it up for Mr. Williams.
Here at Shatner.